Welcome back to the Firewall Files. I'm doing it differently this time, and I can hear myself when I talk, and I think I'm screaming right now, but I don't. Anyways, I'm trying to be more proactive in how I sound. Anyways, I hope you guys had a great week. It was the start of the year. Hopefully, nothing's been fucked. So now, the rest of the year, you're fucked. But, anyways, welcome back. Last week was the start of this podcast, and we just started off with my most embarrassing moments in a sense. Just something lighthearted, even though we talked about the fucking Catholic Church. But, but there has been some change in my life. And if you're a dog owner, this podcast today is specifically for you. And if you're not a dog owner, you'll still enjoy my stories. Over the weekend, I went to a dog expo. I am recording these episodes a little behind so I can stay on top of everything. But I went to this dog expo to get Ecto and Ava some Christmas gifts. They also had goats and horses. I don't know. It was and reptiles. But it was just like a big animal expo, I guess. And I've been to the reptile expo for Padme, my corn snake. But anyways, they just were like, let's throw everything in there. So I went, they had booths full of handmade bandanas, leashes, homemade pet treats, stuff that I could really get them to fill with their stockings. I already got them dog wine and pancake mix for Christmas. So Christmas morning when they're opening their gifts, because what? I'm not, Santa's not stopping at my fucking house. Uh, it'll be a little more special. So they'll open up their treats, and then I'll make them breakfast and have a little dog wine while I also eat Christmas breakfast. And on Christmas, I have some friends who invited me over to their family Christmas, so I'll be doing that. But other than that, that's my Christmas plan, and the next podcast will be about Christmas. So, anyways. So I'm at the expo, and the very front half is, like I said, all this handmade stuff or vendors, whatever. And in the very back, I hear a bunch of barking and yapping. And it's separated with a barrier. And I look across the barrier, and there's dogs. And not just your normal, we're going to get into a lot. It's going to be a longer episode, which is the goal. But it's not your normal breeders. They're not full-blooded. They're rescues. And they had full-grown dogs. They had cats. They had kittens. They had puppies. And I'm going around, and I'm like, damn, this is gonna be tough. Because I knew once I crossed that barrier in that expo, there was no going back. So for about 15 minutes, I'm just window shopping from this barrier. And I'm I'm gonna walk around and really think about the line I'm about to draw in the sand. And I cross it. I cross the barrier and I go in there. And they had the cutest dogs, rescues. Of course, they had their pit bulls, they had chihuahuas, they had furry cats. They had this one dog it was the kind of dog, Ecto and Ava guard me. They're Australian shepherds. They're going to be protective. But they had this one dog that was up to my waist, all black, and it's the kind of dog I could walk around downtown Detroit at night with. And I was like, damn, Like, but I can already not walk both my dogs because they're so big. And Ecto's still being leash trained, so he likes to pull. Ava's great. She just hates the leash. Like, she's the type of dog that you don't put a leash on. She just walks next to you and gets a little ahead to scope out the area to make sure like there's no trouble for me. So she hates being next to me because she wants to make sure it's safe ahead. So putting a dog that's shitty on the leash and a dog that doesn't even want to be on a leash together is ass. So this giant dog, I was like 3 at the same time, is not happening. And he also had cataracts and needed surgery for, which wasn't a problem. I would have definitely got that done for him, but it was just the size. So, anyways, I crossed the barrier and I'm looking around. And to start, I see this little chihuahua. He's a thick. He's not fat, but he's thick. Like I don't know. Compared to what I brought home, he's thick. And his name was Mark. He was 5 years old. He was a cuddle bug. He just liked to watch TV. He didn't want to do anything. He was a rot dog, and that's what I was looking for, even though I wasn't looking for anything. So I talked to the lady about Mark, and she's telling me all this info about him, and I'm falling in love. And I go, okay, thank you. Like, and I just walk away. Like, they were letting you hold the dogs and pet them and stuff like that so you could get to know them. And so I was like, oh, okay, thank you. And I just kind of wandered around. And that's when I just started thinking, like, okay, am I about to take Mark? And I go, okay, I'm going to go outside the barrier, go back to the vendors, and walk around and think about it like a responsible pet owner. Think about the pros and the cons, how I would make it work with 2 other dogs who were double the size of it. And I eventually made my mind up that Mark would be a good fit for me. And I go back, and there's a woman at the cage. The woman was not me, but Mark did get adopted that day. Mark got adopted by, let's just say at this very moment, Mark is getting high as fuck with tapestries and LED lights in a room, okay? So I know Mark is living his best life, so I'm glad that he did get adopted. It just obviously was not the right dog for me because I look across the way and there's another chihuahua. And you're all wondering, like, there's obviously a theme here. I'm sticking with the chihuahuas that I've been interested in. And it's because I want a lap dog. I love my Australian Shepherds. They are the greatest breed I've ever owned. They're great for hiking. They're great for guarding. They're great in the summertime. They're great in the car. Like, I just love them. But what they can't do is sit on my lap while I'm recording a podcast. So, and I also can't dress them up and put them in backpacks and strollers. So, I needed like a little baby doll dog. And that's when I found what his name was, Megatron. Megatron is a 5-pound tan Chihuahua Greyhound. And before you ask me how, I don't fucking know either. And the vision I got in my head of a greyhound fucking a chihuahua, or even worse, a chihuahua fucking a greyhound? Don't know. But he is cute. He was just sitting in his cage, and apparently it was all weekend event, and I went on Sunday. And apparently, all his brothers and sisters had been adopted the day before, but nobody wanted Megatron. He was there on the last day. He was dumped by owners who I assume one of their dogs got accidentally pregnant. I don't know the story, but I'm assuming if it was a whole litter. But Megatron he's never been like in an animal shelter, but the whole litter was split and they were in foster homes. And he was getting like jumped around to different people. So I was like, okay, Mark is a, oh, not Mark. Oh, Megatron is also 7 months old as well. So he is 2 months younger than Ecto. Ecto was 9 months and Ava is 8 years old. So I adopted three dogs in under a year. But like once you do it once, and especially Ecto, I've had since 6 weeks, and he was the first of the adoptees. If you can live through a 6 week old Australian Shepherd until 9 months, bitch, you can do anything. And I'm also saying that for puppies in general. If anybody's raised a puppy, damn, like, proud of you because that shit is not easy at all. I remember the first week I brought Ecto home, I had like a crate or like a fenced in area in my living room for him. And I slept on an air mattress all week. I got no fucking sleep. I'm saying, like, puppies sleep a lot, but he wanted to be active during the times that he shouldn't be. So at like 3 a.m., I'd be waking up and he'd want to play ball. And I'm like, okay, we'll do that. And also at the time, I lived in an apartment. So this dog, the fifth story. So I'm trying to potty train a 6 week old puppy in an apartment on the fifth floor. And I was just like constantly picking up dog shit in my house. And it stunk. Puppy shits are not cute either. So Ecto really matured me. He was the first dog I feel like as an adult I put my bussy into. Ecto is and forever will be my first dog, my baby, no matter what. 6 weeks old, like all he knows is me. If you're also curious why at 6 weeks I was in charge of a damn dog, is because this woman on Facebook, of course, where else do you find these cute ass dogs? She was like, "Oh, my dogs accidentally had babies and I don't want to like normal breeders take them to go get their shots at the vet, or at least like the first round. They get their medicine, they kind of potty train them a little. None of that. This woman, I pay for the dog. Like this is some backdoor shit that like people are like don't do. But here's the thing. It's not like I went to the mall and bought like an AKC beautiful Pomeranian, okay? Ecto is a gorgeous dog that normal breeders would pay over $1,000 to sell. But this woman accidentally had dogs. And she says, at 6 weeks, you can come get the dog. And if you're not familiar with puppies, most breeders won't let you take them home until 8 or 9 weeks just because the mom needs to be there to feed them. It's like a whole thing. Well, this woman was stupid and was like, well, mom's biting the dog, so we've separated them. And I'm like, biting? Like, what do you mean? And she's like, he's pick, or she's like, she's picking them up by the neck and it's hurting them. Um, are you stupid? No shit. Like, that's just how you see how moms move their kittens. It's just a way of life. I'm sure there was squeals to be had from them. But like that's just normal. This woman did not know what she was doing. So I paid for Ecto. I paid $200 for Ecto, brought him home super early because I was like, obviously, this woman is not going to take care of this dog. And I don't know much about puppies, but at least I can get him started on better food, get him his shots, know who I am fully. Like the bond between Ecto and I, because of how young he was, I think is unmatched. And I think even even if you don't raise it from a puppy, or if you have raised a puppy, there's just like any type of young dog that can't remember anything yet. I think those are the type of bonds that like they hurt the most when it's time to go. And I love Ava. That's not in question. I also love what I have now named Megatron, aka Tony from The Sopranos. I love him just as much. It's a living, breathing animal that is in my possession. They are helpless to the things that I can help them with. Like, it's just a sense of like, I'm a caretaker. I love them. I'll do anything for them. But I have to admit, like, it's just like your parents say, I don't have a favorite child. You bitch, yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. And Ecto, they're not going to hear me. They're dogs. But Ecto is the top dog for me when it comes to the energy I've put in, the bonding time. I've been with this dog since I work from home 24/7 for 9 months. And I've made so many memories with him when he was just the only dog. I've made so many memories when he was with Ava. And watching him now, because Ava was the big sister that came in, but watching him now with Tony, like my baby Ecto, who has always been babied by me, watching him be a big brother to this tiny, helpless dog that Ecto could snap in half in a minute has warmed my heart truly. It is the sweetest thing I've ever seen. It's wholesome. It makes me proud because I've raised Ecto to care for the what like a care for the small things in a sense. Like it's fragile. Like he understands like this is baby. Now, Tony is 5 pounds right now, 7 months. He might get a little bigger, I mean, probably at max 10 pounds, but he'll always be small. So I think Ecto is realizing, like, you know, I gotta take care of this thing. Ava's taking care of Ecto. It's a chain effect. Ava's like big mama around the house. She just lays around, and when they get too excited playing with each other, she'll like calm them down. But Ecto, and we've on, but with Ecto, this is only day two of having Tony in the house as this is recorded, and they are inseparable. They go outside and play together. We're talking a 5 pound dog playing with a 45 pound dog out in the yard. They play tug of war together. And you think Ecto and a 5 pound dog playing tug of war, like this dog's getting swung around like a ride at a fair. But Ecto understands the unfair dynamic of weight, it seems. And when they play, Ecto will like let him pull a little bit, and then he'll do like one giant pull, which pulls him back closer, and then he lets him go out again. Like, it's just Australian Shepherds are so smart, but especially Ecto, because I raised him. But it's just been so fun. Like, everybody was like get a cat. You have two dogs. But my glass shelves with Legos on it say differently. I will not be getting a cat ever again in my life. If you remember my very first streams, I used to have a cat back home, but I moved to New York, so that just stays with family. And I raised a kitten, and it was not easy. They look so angelic when I was at the expo, but I'm not having it. I know better. Absolutely not. There's also like obviously a lot of, I wouldn't say downsides to having a dog, but you have those moments where like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? Like Ecto is very vocal. Not at like in the house. He's not like a husky or he's like ooh, but he screams. It's not a bark. It's like full on doesn't move his jaw, singular no scream. And he only does it when one, he sees the postman, which ha ha ha, like you really are living up to your like what's it called? Like living like I don't know. Dogs are like haha dogs and the postman, you know? He's really living up to that. And I have a neighbor next to me who also has a dog. And they've never met, and honestly, I'm thinking this summer they should because once he gets to know the other animal, it won't be as big of a deal. But he's been digging holes next to the fence to get into the neighbor's yard. He has yet to succeed in that neighbor's yard, but he digs these damn holes, and I have to put a fence there. I have to refill the hole. I plan to like gut this little section and refill it. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet, but I'm gonna dog proof it. It's just too damn cold right now. But I'll let him go to the bathroom. And in the summertime, even if it's not raining or snowy, in the wintertime, because he loves the cold, I'll let him go play out in the yard. Ava's not like big into that, but he likes to run around. He likes to just sit there as the wind blows through his fur and like stare out at the fucking trees. But anyways, he's been digging these holes and I'll leave him out there because I'm like, oh, the ground's frozen. There shouldn't be a problem. And I come out, I bring him inside. Man is covered head to toe in mud because somehow he breaks through the concrete frozen ground barrier and he's drenched in mud. And it pissed me off because that like it doesn't piss me off when he does that. I get he's a dog. Like I'm if anything, if my dogs ever do anything, I'm just like, is it upsetting? Like they spilled my Baja Blast the other night and I was like, damn, like I wanted that with my taco, but like I get it. You don't understand the damage you've done. Um so when they come so when they because Ava sometimes does it. When they come in dirty, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. But the night before Friendsgiving, I Ava goes to the salon. She goes to the groomer. I drop her off for a few hours. She does great. She comes home. Ecto has never done that, and I'm trying to warm him up to it because the last time I took her, I took him. And I live like 5 minutes from my groomer. I get home, I get a call immediately as I park from dropping them off. And they go, hey, could you come get him? Like, he wasn't being destructive or loud. He wouldn't come out of the cage. So I had to go back and get him, and we're working on it. So I took him to a pet store where you can wash your own dog. And I was like, okay, it's a start. Like, we'll tie him up like they do. I'll wash him. Like, it's a different environment. And he did great. He wasn't like a fan, but he didn't make any sound. That's my biggest goal. Like, please don't make it sound like I'm killing you. even if you're uncomfortable. So he got through that. So we get back home. Every time he goes to the bathroom, I'm putting him on a leash because Friendsgiving is on a Saturday and I got him washed on a Thursday. And I said I have 48 hours to keep you clean. So I take him out on a leash, we come back in. I take him out on a leash, we come back in. The night before Friendsgiving, I was like busy prepping and I was like, okay, I'm gonna trust you. I'm gonna let you out real fast. And literally, like, 3 minutes later, I was gonna come get him. I go out there. He's a black dog with a white chest, white feet, completely covered. Not a single speck of white could be found on this dog. And I was so upset because one, I paid to shower him, which I can do at home, but it's the principle of getting him used to that stuff. So I paid for that. I went through all this trouble because he was freaking out, but he was like trying to be cool about it. So I put him through some stress. I had to go somewhere, I had to pay for it. He smelled delicious, and now I have to give him a half-assed bath in my shower, which, mind you, Critter at the time was going to be spending the night, and I just deep scrubbed the shower. So I did a bunch of shit for nothing, is what I'm saying. I was so upset at him. It was one of those times where no matter what, I keep myself grounded in the thought of they're just dogs, no matter what. And I will always rely back on that. But you gotta admit, that was so fucking annoying. I was like, bro, why? We were so close. So he got a shitty shower with his shampoo that didn't smell as good as the stores. and and he was back to normal, but he also does that shit and then he'll come in and immediately jump on the couch. And luckily, I have a couch that I can take the cushion covers off and clean, but man, like, damn. Like, Ava's 8, and I just have to keep reminding myself that, like, Ecto one day will be like this. I'm not praying for it to get here anytime soon, but it's a nice reward to look forward to know that things do get better. And I mean, considering 3-month Ecto to 9-month Ecto, huge difference. Like, Australian Shepherds are herding dogs. They like to bite at your ankles when they want you to go somewhere, or they'll like nudge you if they want something. They're so smart. Like when Ava wants an ice cube, she'll bark at me and I'll go show me, and she'll go sit by the freezer. Or the few times that I have not paid attention to the water bowl being empty, Ecto will bark and physically bring me the bowl. So it's like, I don't ever really have to guess what they want. They're very smart. But the biting that occurred as a puppy at 3 months was insane. Even throughout the summer, so we're in like 4 or 5 months, I was going to I worked at a golf course, so I was wearing like the skirts, the golf shorts, stuff like that. I had bruises so big on my leg. I thought that was like like a health issue with me, but it was because he was jumping and nipping at me, and we've gotten past that. Like, he used to not even be able to sit on the couch because all he'd want to do was just bite. And that's normal, I think, for most puppies. But with his breed, it's just amplified. And I'm just so glad that's over. Like, every morning we have a routine, especially now with Tony, but they get fed. Well, they wake up at 7, they go to the bathroom, I feed them. Right after they're done eating, they go to the bathroom again, and then they lay down until I get up. And when I wake up, everybody's still asleep, but Ecto always sleeps at my feet. And I'll scroll on my phone. He'll be watching me. He knows I'm awake. But I'll scroll on my phone, have like a little morning session. But the minute I open my mouth, that's when he knows it's go time. Mom is ready. So every morning, once I'm like, okay, I'm ready, he comes and we have like morning cuddles. And it's been so cute. That has been disrupted a little bit with Tony, but I think he still definitely feels loved. Like, I don't think, even the minute I brought Tony home, there was not like an ounce of jealousy or like pay attention to me. There's no acting out. He truly, I think, the bond I've built with him, he knows is unmatched as well as I do. And with Tony, he's a big burrower. So when he wants to sleep, he just sleeps under the blankets next to me. He'll sleep next to my side, he'll sleep on my stomach, he'll sleep in like the V of my legs if I'm laying sideways. He just like you would not even be able to tell I had a dog if you were to walk in while I'm sleeping. And that is like so cute. But you have to like I have to be so careful when Ecto wants to come cuddle too because he'll just like sit on him. And I'm like, please. There has been a few times that Ecto has like ran him over, and he like yelps, but he's also just more so annoyed. He's just like, damn man, again? I don't understand. All right, so that's a bit about. All right, so that's a little bit about my dogs, my household at the moment that I'm happy with, that I've built, that's filled with love. So now we're going to get into the confessional segment of the pod. I read one confession per episode, and we deem if they are sinners or they can be forgiven. You can DM me your confessions. You can go to the Firewall Fox official Reddit, and I have a post there that you can add to. Oh my God. I don't usually read the confessions beforehand because I want to be just as surprised as the rest of you. And I just read the last sentence of this by accident and I don't like it. All right. The confession is I got set up by a friend to go on a date. Went on 2 dates with this girl and everything was fine. She was nice and the conversation was good. We had dinner on the third date. And don't ask how I didn't notice this before. I noticed she only ate with one hand. Her left hand or arm never came up. So after dinner, I took a peek at it. She had a nub there with four little nubs on the end. So it was after the third date rule. It got hot and we hooked up. I asked her if she could use both hands. Not my proudest nut, but I guarantee most people could never even imagine how it felt. She pushed the nub up against the side of it and managed to use her good hand to grab everything all at once. It felt like getting a rough elbow massage. I finished on the nub. Bro, what the fuck? Oh my god. Dude, this is the craziest one so far. And mind you, I don't reread these like when I get them, but like no I don't know how you're gonna top this. I can't deem you as a sinner, unfortunately, because like everybody deserves love. Can I say that? This is crazy. A nub job. That's what you had, a nub job. And you finished on the nub. Bro, oh my god. I think this is not a universal I mean, there's gotta be others. This girl's definitely getting some. There should be like a nub nut meetup, you know? Like, what is that? What did he say? He said, it felt like getting a rough elbow massage into your dick? if you're into that, I guess. That's like WWEing your dick. Wow, this was a wholesome podcast about dogs, and we ended up with nub nutting. I don't even know. Oh, wow. All right. So yeah, there's, I mean, I'm actually speechless. I don't know what to say. Interesting. Thank you for sharing with the class. Oh, we love the second episode. And that's what this is, a beautiful second episode of the Firewall Files. As of right now, I am trying to grow my YouTube if you're interested. That's what I'm plugging today. If we can get to 1,000 followers by the end of the year, 1,000 subs, I guess is what they call it on YouTube. If I can get to 1,000 on that, I will do a 48-hour straight stream. As also, like I said, Firewall Fox official on Reddit if you want to add your stories. You can also always DM me. Just let me know it's a confession. That way you're not just DMing me some crazy ass shit. And I'm like, bro, what are you saying? So do that. Twitter, TikTok, if that's still up by the time this is posted. Right now, I'm downloading every single one of my TikTok videos, like as an archive, and I'm gonna start uploading them on YouTube Shorts and probably Reels. So that's been a whole thing. But I'll be curious to see if that's still here. All right, everybody, I will see you next Wednesday with a new topic and a new confession. You guys have a great week. Stay happy, stay healthy, and thank you for listening to the Firewall Files.